Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, December 23rd. I'm home for the holidays. There's four Christmas trees, 5 Christmas trees in my line of sight right
There's 5
now
too
in
many.
my house. 6, 7, 8. There's a lot of Christmas trees. My family loves Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. How you doing, Sam?
We'll talk about it in the rat list. I was very excited to wear a particular item on this show, and I cannot wear it. So, nonetheless, very good show. Going to be a fun time. We have Celtics-Magic tonight, which would be a fun game if not everybody on the Magic was injured. We'll also go through some NBA stuff, some rumors. We'll go through the standings. We're going to have a fun rat list for you guys today because we haven't recorded a full pod since last Wednesday. So there's plenty of details to get in and things to rat list. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the bell because we're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. And then we have other videos in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. But yes, Celtics-Magic was last night as you're listening to this. We don't know what happened yet because it's 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah. We got a little bit to go before that one. Did I lag through the intro for you, or was I fine? Out of curiosity.
When I started talking, you lagged, but you were fine when you were talking.
Perfect. There's a chance I have to switch to a hotspot on my phone, so bear with me if you hear me lagging or you hear a cut. Just know that my Wi-Fi cut out. I'll take the hand up before it happens this time because, for whatever reason, my Wi-Fi at home is awful. Or new home because my family moved, but it's unusable. And if you hear a dog whining, that's because my dog goes, "Hey, stop." She's not pleased because I took all the shoes and put them out of her reach because she likes to eat the shoes, and I put them like just on top of something where she can't reach them. So she's not happy.
I don't know why dogs are obsessed with shoes.
It's got to be like the texture, like because the leather they can just bite without ripping, and so it's like teething almost. I
Yeah,
assume it's like why
cats
babies
love
chew
like
on like rubber
string and
rings.
shit. Like animals, they all have like the shit that they love to play with.
They're hyperfixations, yeah, I suppose so. Anyways, let's jump over to a recap of Celtics Magic. All right, Sam and I are here after the Celtics 108-104 loss to the Orlando Magic. Went down to Florida against an injured Magic squad who we've talked about all year, how well they have played despite being injured, and the Celtics got a taste of it for themselves. Jason Tatum ruled out minutes before tip, questionable, then officially ruled out at halftime due to illness. Celtics offense sputtered for most of the game. Credit the Magic, played great defense, but Celtics lost their second game in the last three after losing to the Bulls last Thursday. Yeah, couldn't get the job done in Florida.
Yeah, bad game to lose. Bad game. Overall bad game. Maybe not overall. Maybe first quarter on bad game. Second half in particular bad half. This was a game where you were like, wow, both sides really did a great job of playing brain dead basketball for stretches. Orlando had 2, I think, inbounds giveaways in this game where they just handed the ball to the Celtics off an inbounds pass. They turned the ball over a billion times at the beginning of this game. They gave the Celtics this incredible head start with none of their big players playing. I suppose I shouldn't say none because Jalen Suggs played like a big time player on both ends of the floor today, and Cole Anthony gave them some magic off the bench. They pulled this, so I guess they have the same 3D printer in Florida as the Miami Heat. Trevelin Queen, new 3D printed Orlando Magic Heat culture guy. They found one. Never heard of this guy before today. 17 points, 3 steals, game winning assist. He was a difference maker for the Magic. Sure. Yeah, I guess that's what happens. And rookie Tristan De Silva lit them up for 18. He made the big shot at the end of the game. But Celtics side of things, really impressive Jalen game. Little sloppy with the turnovers. We can talk about that stuff. Nobody else was that great. Drew was fine. This was pretty annoying, though. This was another game that they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have lost to Atlanta. They shouldn't have lost to Chicago. They shouldn't have lost to Orlando now. It's almost like they let the referees get in their head any chance they get.
Yeah, it was a tough game. I mean, credit Orlando. I thought they played really good defense. Celtics had their fair share of bad turnovers for as many as the Magic had. They had 20. The Celtics had 18. So they played poorly as well. Celtics only shot 33 threes in this game, and I think the Magic were a big part of that. They wouldn't let the Celtics shoot threes. They were very adamant on we're not going to shoot threes. And I think not having Jason Tatum hurt the spacing, hurt the Celtics' ability to play drive and kick offense, even though Jaylen Brown was really, really good in this game. Just not having the focal point of everything you like to do is going to hurt you. Jaylen Brown 1 of 7 from 3, Al Horford 1 of 5 from 3, Kristaps 0 of 4 from 3. That right there is enough to make you lose the game in most cases. Peyton Pritchard 1 of 5 too. But I think it was the volume more than anything in this one, and I don't think it was the Celtics were hesitant to take them, even though there were a few in the first half and in third quarter in particular where I felt like they should have just shot them and they hesitated. I think it was Drew and Al, or maybe Drew and Derek, who got an open three, pump faked it, passed it to each other, and then they ended up like turning it over or something. So I thought it was a little bit weird. But I think the Magic's physicality was huge all night. They were great playing defense, great down low. They were really like making it a point to muck up the game a little bit. So not a good performance by the Celtics, but I do give the Magic credit for the way they played. Like you mentioned, great Jaylen Brown game, 15 of 29 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3 is not ideal, but 35 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 5 turnovers isn't great. This really felt like a first quarter, fourth quarter game for Jaylen. Those middle 2 quarters were pretty less than ideal, but he was hot in the first and he played well in the fourth as well. So I guess it was a mix of those two things. I thought Drew was really good in this game. First quarter, especially, and the turnovers again weren't great, but the turnovers were bad for everybody. But he made some big buckets down the stretch. He was really, really good on defense. I mean, 3 steals, 2 blocks, but he just felt like he was a menace at all times. Outside of that, it was pretty rough. I thought Derek White was okay. 5 of 12, 3 of 7, made some big shots, was doing a little bit of everything. I thought the defense was okay. Again, the turnovers weren't great. Kristaps couldn't find a shot. He got to the line 14 times, which was great, but he shot 2 of 10 from the field. Al was cold. It was just a really, really bad offensive night. I thought they played okay defensively. I thought the first quarter was one of their better defensive showings of the year. Part of that could have just been that the Magic didn't have anybody available. But yeah, Trevelin Queen was really good in the G League a couple of years ago. He won G League Finals MVP. I just looked it up and it was with the Vipers, and I vaguely remember that. But he was huge in Orlando's comeback win over the Heat this past weekend, and they gave him the start, rewarded him for it in this one, and clearly it worked. And he stepped up. So, yeah, I credit the Magic. The Celtics just didn't play good enough. The 3-point shooting has been cold lately. And it's not exactly, what's the word, conducive to winning basketball games for the Celtics when they're not shooting the threes well or getting up enough at all.
No, they really needed to shoot threes today. The other day,
Should have shot more.
said, I feel like some teams should maybe not take as many threes, but those teams should not be us. We're the best at doing it. Why would we change? I was trying to do it while you were talking, so I'm looking now. I am guessing today was the fewest 3-point attempts that we have seen from the Celtics this season. I don't know for a fact. Hold on. Why the fuck? Okay,
I can find it. 1 sec. I can find it. 1 sec.
All right.
It
Well, I'll just twiddle my thumbs.
I mean, you could look if you like, but it does. Yeah, it's the fewest they've taken in a game this season. It's the first time they've taken fewer than 40, and they took 33. So that's pretty significant, I would say. You fishbowled. I don't know what's happening with your mic. Okay, you're back. Welcome back.
My computer's deciding to keep disconnecting my AirPods for some reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I hear a little like it's like psh, psh, every couple seconds, and I wasn't sure what it was, but that makes sense.
Is it every couple seconds? Like, is it that bad?
Yeah, it was like every 5-ish seconds when I was talking, but I figured it wasn't on my end.
Hold on, let's pause. I don't know what's going on.
That's fine. That's fine. As I was saying before the great AirPod debacle, it is the fewest threes they've taken in a game this season by far. They haven't taken below 40 in a game so far this year, and they took 33 against the Magic. Their previous season low, from what I can see, was 45. So they've 41 in the win over Cleveland. So they took 8 fewer threes than their previous season low, which I would argue is pretty significant.
Yeah, and you could tell it really threw off their rhythm today. Like we talked about Jaylen, right? Jaylen was really good in this game. It felt like he got a bucket at every point when they needed a bucket. When they were dying in the third quarter, he had the big dunk. Then he had the put back off the Luke miss in transition. Yet he was 1 of 7 from 3. He was getting everything in the paint. He was using his body. Like, for the people that yearn, that sit there and yearn for 90s basketball, the cigarette smokers, as Jack called them, this was everything you could have dreamed of. It was Jaylen playing bully ball.
Yeah.
Celtics finished the game, I want to say, with what, 101 points? This is what you dream of. And it didn't work. They lost.
Yeah. Yeah, 108, 104 is certainly not a 2024 stat line. This was ugly. It was ugly basketball, and if that's the type of basketball you like, more power to you, I suppose. But it was bad. The Celtics didn't take enough threes. I think the Magic were a big part of them not taking enough threes. And for all of the Kyrie Mavs discourse from that Twitter user I've seen on Twitter, slashing Jason Tatum, you could very clearly see the impact of Jason Tatum not being on the floor. Like, he is one of the best floor spacers in the NBA, not from a catch and shoot perspective, but from a, if he drives and if the ball in his hands, it's a magnet. Like he is a magnet for defenders when he has the ball in his hands. And hey, we haven't seen Tatum play the Magic this year. Maybe the Magic are just really good at staying home, a very physical basketball team, and that is a brand that they've built. So I'm curious to see what it looks like when Tatum and the Celtics play the Magic the next time. But I do think it is significant that Tatum wasn't in this game and they took 8 fewer threes than they have at all this season, right? Like they've taken double this many threes in a game this season almost. Like that's crazy. They took their most threes in a game this year. I see a 63 game. They took 61 on opening night and 61 against the Raptors, and they took 33 tonight. Like that is an insane gap. That is like in borderline unacceptable
It's
gap. Like
borderline
you're just
half.
not. Yeah, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win like that. Like that
They almost
drastic
won.
of play styles. They
They
almost
started
won.
to get close again when they started making threes at the end of the game.
Exactly. Exactly. But
From
it
Worldwide
didn't happen.
Wob, there's always that one guy at the park who goes way too hard and treats random games of pickup like life or death. The Orlando Magic are 5 of these people for 48 straight minutes every night.
Respect. They played good. Like that. It's
I kind
a
of hate the
good brand of
Magic,
basketball.
but not in a like a I actually hate them way. Like I
It's a
dislike.
respectful hate. It's a
Yes,
respectful hate.
it's like, so I don't really care about games anymore. I don't know why. I don't. I think the championship kind of ruined me in that respect. I felt myself like a little upset today. Like, and it was good. It was like I was like happy. I was like, I feel something. It's like I don't know. I don't have a good metaphor. What
I
I
know what
will
you mean, though.
say,
I get it.
what I will say is I was like, one, mad that they lost to a shorthanded team, which is their favorite thing to do this season. And 2, I was mad that they couldn't beat these fucking guys. You had Batadze go at Porzingis' neck. You had Jalen Suggs being a pest at all opportunities. You had the random 3D printed guy have 17 points. I mean, this is a team that just goes out there to compete. It's like Mo Wagner taught all of them his ways, and they have a bunch of him running around. And I was like,
Mo,
the Celtics really fucking lost to these guys. So it's nice to feel.
Mo Wagner picked up the ashes of his ACL from the floor in Miami and sprinkled it on as a little dust for the rest of the roster. That's what happened.
I thought there was a bald spot on Jalen Suggs' head. I guess it was the ash.
Just the ash. No, I mean, to their credit, the Magic too, like by the end of this game, the Celtics had blown it, right? The third quarter was disastrous. That was the point where the Celtics lost this game. By the end of this game, the Magic were making some insane 3-point shots. Like Tristan De Silva made a couple crazy ones in the corner. Wendell Carter made like the most ridiculous contested 3 I've ever seen. So they made some tough shots. They played some good defense, and the Celtics just had too many turnover problems by the end of it. And that kind of was what it was. And it ended in a loss. But yeah, credit to Magic. Maybe this is controversial, and we'll talk more about the rest as the pod goes on, I'm sure. Not because they cost the Celtics the game, just because there was ref stuff that happened in the game.
They ruined the game. They ruined it.
I thought that I get why it was. I don't think Goga was trying to choke out Porzingis. Like, I don't think his intent was, I'm going to go at this guy's neck. I think it was, let me get him off Jalen Suggs. Like, based on intent, I think it was a weak ejection. But if you make contact above the neck or at the neck, it has to be an ejection. But
Yeah, he looked like he was trying
watching
to
it
be a
happen,
peacemaker.
yeah. Watching it unfold, I was like, I don't think he should necessarily be ejected in this game. But if you grab a guy by the neck, you got to get ejected. You got to go. So I can't really fight it from that perspective. But yeah, I don't know. What are you laughing at? Just me talking about Goga?
No, I'm looking at the box score, and I kind of forgot Sam Hauser played today.
You didn't do. Yeah, I get it. I wonder why. He didn't do much.
Like, wait, what? He played? I thought he was still out. That's what I've got is brain rot.
Cardio.
Because I was like, this is a weird game. Like, we didn't even really hear from Pritchard much. He was just not effective in this one. But yeah, I guess Hauser played. They missed Tatum. It was so
They
evident.
did.
It was just a strange night. I have a level of concern now
Yeah.
about these games. I will say that. Like,
Mm.
you should not be losing games to teams that are trying harder than you. Like, that's what they've done. The Hawks loss in the NBA Cup was that. Tonight's loss was that. The loss to Chicago, I don't know if I would completely pin it on that. I think the Chicago loss was a cold night. The Cavs loss in Cleveland was Mitchell getting hot.
Okay.
The Pacers, I don't remember
Yeah.
much about that. And I'm trying to think of loss number 6.
I don't think this was quite as bad as the Hawks loss. Because I think there was an element to this where, yes, I think the Magic were hustling more than the Celtics, and that's never a good thing. But in the Hawks game, it felt like the Celtics were playing all right, but then just got out hustled. They couldn't do shit in this game.
They were up
from
15
behind the three-point line.
games.
There, yes, 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that, but that part of the game in this one, less so than Hawks one, for whatever reason, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like this is how I thought about it. Felt more like that Nets game where they got everything to go inside, even though they couldn't make any threes. And then once the Magic shored that up, the Celtics threes still weren't falling, and then it was kind of like, oh shit, what do we do now? But anyways, before we continue with the rest of the show, I need to take a quick pause here to tell you guys about Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is the best place to bet on sports, fantasy sports, all that good stuff. Sam and I use Prize Picks on the pregame shows. We have some fun picking more or less on points. If you had taken the less on a lot of players' points tonight, you probably would have done very, very good. But for the holiday season, Prize Picks is running some very fun promotions. On Christmas Day, Nikola Jokic only needs 1 point for you to win one of your squares. The more or less is set at 0.5 points. So if Nikola Jokic scores, congratulations. That's one of your squares hit.
What if he doesn't score?
If he doesn't score, then a lot of
You
people
should-
will be very, very
Yeah.
sad. But
Don't play the lottery.
I'm confident. But I'm confident. On top of that, you got a couple other interesting things coming up. Steelers, Chiefs on Christmas Day, which should be a really fun game, actually. Will Pat Mahomes throw for 250 yards? Travis Kelce is going to have more than 5 catches. I think those are both pretty fair. You can check those out as well. A lot of fun stuff on Prize Picks, though. And again, usually Sam and I are saying, oh, I wonder if this opposing player will have more turnovers. I think if you did the more on Jaylen, Drew, or Derek tonight turnovers, you probably would have been pretty well off as well,
Or Hauser.
because they had, or Hauser. How many did Hauser have?
3. That or
3?
that's fouled. Nope, 3 turnovers. No,
Oh,
3
dear.
fouls.
3 fouls. Okay, well, still not very fun. But this week is 7 days of Picksmas, where Prize Picks is giving you a shot at $1 million, along with daily rewards just for playing. So make sure to check out Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. My roommate actually did it the other day, and he was thrilled. Download the app today again. And use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, back to this game.
Now that
which
you're
we
done
were
with that,
talking
I do
about
have
before.
to say the NFL should fuck off with Christmas. It's the NBA's day. I didn't want to interrupt the ad, but
I'm really glad you didn't.
I despise that the NFL is doing this.
They're taking it over, man. And the worst part is they're really fucking good games too. Like they hype this shit up. They
Isn't
put
it
great
Chiefs
games on
Raiders?
Christmas. It's Chiefs Steelers and Ravens Texans, both of which are
Sure.
pretty damn good games.
Yes,
But
who wouldn't?
back to this one. Jaylen was good in the first and the fourth, really. Drew Holiday, I thought, was really good throughout, but it just didn't matter. I don't know if you thought the same. It felt really weird to me that they didn't try to go through Pritchard more. I know he took 5 threes, but it felt like he didn't even get a chance to create a lot in this game. And on a night where they so clearly couldn't find much creation on the offensive end, it felt like they could have gone to him more. Maybe it was that they saw the Magic were defending him well and keeping him off 3-point line, but I don't know. It's a quiet night from him, and I know he was inefficient, but I don't think the solution was to stop shooting threes. I think they should have just tried to hunt them more, if that makes sense, because that is how they win games. They outmath, and I don't know how many threes the Magic shoot per game. I can't imagine it is towards the top of the league, considering the personnel they have on their roster. A quick glance at NBA.com stats tells me that they shoot the 15th most threes in the league. They shot the same as the Celtics tonight. The Magic this season are averaging 14 fewer threes than the Celtics, and they shot the same tonight. That's a problem. That's an issue. And so I think running through Pritchard would have been a bit better. I think the Celtics should have made more of an effort to hunt threes rather than just going into the paint every time. And I get that maybe that's a hot take now in today's NBA fan landscape, but I think that's why they lost, or a big part of it at least.
They definitely lost because of the threes. It's just what they do, and they didn't do it. Like, the Celtics are probably the most talented team in the NBA, depending on how you feel about OKC. They did not do the thing that makes them special outside of the talent. And that's the thing that really sucked, because it was a winnable game. It always was. They had control of this game early. They looked like they were in a good spot to win it at the end, and they weren't able to get over the finish line because they forgot how to put the ball in the basket for 2.5 or quarter and a half, 2.5 quarter, whatever you want to fucking label it as. When you think there was a stretch where they did not know what they were doing on offense because the threes weren't really being created. We got the luxury of getting to see a ton of watch this ball, where it felt like every possession it was ISO after ISO after ISO, and it worked for Jaylen. It didn't work for anybody else. And they only had 2 assists in the second half before the last couple minutes. Like, it was
really bad. Yeah, they only had 13 assists on the night. I wonder if that's a season low. That's probably a season low too, low key. I'm gonna take a look at that because I feel like there can't have been a game where they had less than 13 assists, right? That's so bad. Yeah, the offense was just really ugly. It was so painfully clear that they missed Jason Tatum, and it would be funny. I did see, actually, before I go down that line, because that's going to be a whole new topic point, I do want to look at this assist thing. Sorry, audio listeners.
That's okay.
Their fewest assists, they've only had fewer than 20 assists in a game 2 other times before this. It's 17 in the loss to Cleveland, and they had 19 in the win over the Pistons in the third game of the season. Other than that, they've had 20 assists or up in every single game, and they had 13 tonight. So probably not very good. This is the tied for the third fewest shots they've made in a game this season. They made 35 in the win over in one of their wins over Milwaukee. And they made 36 against the Hornets early in the year. They made 37 against Minnesota, 36 against Washington. But they made 37 tonight, and only 8 were threes. They made 8 made threes in this game. Their previous season low was 11 against Washington, and Washington was just that bad that it didn't matter. So, yeah, it's not going to be good to win games or easy to win games when you don't shoot threes, don't take threes, yeah, it's just not a good night. What I was going to say was, you tweeted the quote from Peyton Pritchard. I just saw where Pritchard said, I feel like some teams should maybe not take as many threes, but those teams should not be us. We're the best at doing it. Why would we change? It's definitely not what happened, because I don't think he would take it this far. It would be very, very funny if Joe Mazzulla was like, all right, you know what? Fuck all these fucking morons around the league. We're not taking any motherfucking threes tonight. Go to the hoop. I don't care. And we'll see what happens. And he comes out, look what happens. We don't get our threes. We'll fucking lose. How do you like that, idiots?
That would be a nice spite move. I can respect that.
Again, don't think that happened, but a part of me wants it to be the case.
It would be very Joe. I'm trying to see if he said anything about the threes in particular. I'm scrolling the timeline. I don't see it, which is a bummer for me because I'm looking to write about the threes today, so it hurts my feelings.
I asked about. I don't know how relevant they would be, but a few games ago, and I never used the quotes, when they lost to the Bulls, I asked about the threes. So there's quotes from that if you want some background about the threes. Maybe I'll write about the threes too, but I know
If you'd like.
a few games ago. I don't have them. I'm just saying if you want to go look in that interview to pull background. I know people talked about the threes
Perhaps.
after that game as well. You don't have to lie to me. You could just say I'm not going to fucking do that.
No, I'm not gonna.
Thank you. Anything else in this game? Oh, the ref nonsense was whatever. The ejection, the tech. Did you see that the Celtics didn't call a timeout at the end of the game and they stopped play and gave them a timeout anyways, and so they lost all their forward momentum? I don't know if I'm frozen or Sam's frozen here, so I'm
It
going
was
to keep
me.
talking. And
It was me.
it's you. Did you hear what I said? I said, did you see that the Celtics didn't actually call a timeout, but they gave them a timeout and stopped like the momentum?
They gave him a timeout there, but they didn't give them a timeout earlier in the quarter when Joe Mazzulla was trying to call a timeout to challenge.
It's just it's such a weird game. Such a weird game. Such a weird ref game. Spencer Rattler just threw a pick that's huge for my fantasy team. So I've got the football game
Former
up
South
too.
Carolina Gamecock. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. This is the expansion team league where I'm like the I went 2-12 this year, but I'm in the toilet bowl playoffs right now, and if I win, our friend Ethan will go to the toilet bowl finals to be the worst team in the league. So I will be 2-12 in the regular season, but we'll have won my only playoff game. I'm not going to be the worst team if I win tonight.
Yeah,
so
but
it doesn't matter.
Do they have a punishment for that?
I don't think so. I'm not the worst. You can't call me the worst. Any final thoughts on this game? I don't know how much else there is. I don't know how many other performances. Luke was fine. I guess we didn't talk about him. Drew was, I thought, pretty good. KP was good at getting to the line. It was annoying because they really didn't have an answer for KP down low, and they were getting actively frustrated, but he just couldn't capitalize with his efficiency. And then Hauser and Pritchard were pretty quiet. Trevelin Queen played well. Goga played well before he got ejected, I thought. Suggs was solid. Wendell Carter was good, but Tristan Da Silva good too. But any final thoughts?
I truly can't believe they lost this game. Not as someone who watched this game, but as somebody who knew what the injury report was going into this game, I can't believe they lost this game. As someone who's watched them this season, I can believe it. But as someone who watched the game, I believe it. Man.
Happens. Tough one, man. Credit to the Magic. They played well. Jamal Mosley's got those boys playing well, playing physical, and it worked. But we'll throw it over to the rest of the show here. All right, we're back from Celtics-Magic. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. It's going to be a very injured one, at least on the Magic side of things, because, I mean, I'm sure we talked about it in the show, Mo Wagner tore his ACL, which is just like they're Pelicans East at this point. Now, you got to feel bad for him because they were having a really good season, and they still are, but it's rough. Let's jump to the email here and see what y'all had to say. It's been a minute since we went over the email. So we'll check in and see what y'all had to say. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. From RJ. Current Celtics are losing the margins. Morning, folks. Something has felt off about the Celtics this season. This is from a few days ago. I'm not one for trying to psychoanalyze the players or coaches, so I looked at the numbers and it's there. This team's losing the margins to last year's squad. First off, the C's are shooting poorer on all fronts. Their 2-point field goal percentage, and free throw shooting percentages are down by about 1% relative to what their 3-point shooting percentage is. To last year's, while their 3-point shooting percentage has dropped 21 points, 38 to 36.7, which is a 5.4% decline compared to last year's success. As a result of the lower make rate, even though the Celtics are launching more threes per game, or more field goals per game, I should say, at 91.3 than last year, 90.2. They are scoring fewer points on their combined field goals, dropping from 104.3 to 102.0. The other margin they are losing relative to last year is rebounds, gathering 1.5 fewer total boards per night. So yeah, that's what this year's edition looks a little less sharp than last year's squad. My concern, not yet, be well RJ, who has been a Cubs fan for too many years not to keep an eye out for small things that can lead to bigger problems. I never looked at the numbers that deeply. I do think the Celtics are playing significantly more different this year. I don't know if you can look at it, RJ, or if you would mind. I bet the numbers since KP has been back look more similar to the Celtics of last year. Or maybe not, because he has been chucking up the threes as well. But I do feel like this year Celtics are definitely taking more threes as a way to change up their game. Like what's extremify isn't the right word, but like they're taking it to the next level, basically, of the Missoula ball.
Maximize.
Yeah. They want to take it to the next level versus last year.
Yeah, and I think they're always going to want to expand on Missoula ball, but I think the free throw percentage and 2-point field goal percentage is evident. Like eye test, if you asked me higher or lower, I would have said lower. Feels like Tatum's missing a lot more free throws and he's been getting to the line a lot. I think Jaylen hasn't been as sharp shooting the middies, which is a big part of their 2-point field goal percentage. Feels like as a team, they've missed a lot of shots at the rim too. I think that is the most concerning thing. If you want to sit and think about what the Celtics can improve at, I think if they finish better at the rim, they would be much better off, because I think it was Missoula basically said, if you miss at the rim, it might as well be a turnover, because the other team is already 5-on-4 going down as the shooter tries to get back on defense. So I think that's the most important thing. I think the threes will figure themselves out. I think it doesn't help that Hauser has been dealing with a back injury too. He's somebody that's been so relied on off the bench to be this 3-point sniper, and he's not really been able to deliver on that this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not too worried right now, like you said, RJ, but I definitely something to keep an eye on, and it's interesting for sure. Next email we got. Happy holidays to all my HBTC friends. Evening, folks, whatever holidays you celebrate, I hope they were festive and loving for you and yours. And yes, y'all can plaster this year's holiday card on the video. Be well, everyone, RJ. And he sent us a nice little family Christmas card of him and his family. Shout out to RJ.
Nice.
Thank you, RJ. We appreciate you very much. I remember last year he sent us a card and asked us not to put us on the show, but now everyone can spread the love to RJ and his family. Happy holidays, RJ, and your family. We appreciate you very much.
Thanks for sending it in.
Mm-hmm. Next one, Celtics Christmas tree song. Excuse me. Holy crap! This sat in my outbox for a week before I noticed. Hope it's not too late. It's still Christmas, our holiday season. Fellas, the holiday season has made me thankful for the Celtics community, especially the one at HBTC and its two legendary hosts. Genuinely look forward each day to connecting with the community and have come to know a ton of interesting diehard Celtics fans. Thank each of you and have a Merry Christmas, and when we will feast on the blood of the Sixers. This is called Celtics Christmas Tree, and then he gave us some notes to read after, but obviously we'll read that after. So let me play this song for everybody listening. Shout out Philip.
Well, it's Christmas Eve at the Auerbach. Team's getting ready to punch the old clock, but before they could breathe that Boston air, Joe blocked the door with a naughty glare. I've had an ultimate Christmas visual for building team precision. We were too slow to make a counter plea before Joe said we're putting up a tree. Oh, it's time for the Celtics Christmas tree. Turns out team decorating ain't too easy. Well, we've all got places we'd rather be, but Joe says we're building chemistry. Looking up ain't no ordinary tree. 3 empty raccoon nests we could see. Said he got a gander of her from the plane. Doubled back to down her with a crane. Taller than a K to KP back ride, and wider than their wingspans side by side. Wheeling in boxes of tangled lights, it was starry. Turns out team decorating ain't too easy. Well, we've all got places we'd rather be, but Joe says we're building chemistry. Right way we began to scatter. Couldn't find a plan or a ladder. 20 minutes and 28 knocks done. More broken than hung. Got the 2 ways untangling lights. To get them on the tree, JB took flight. In between, out denying everything but white and green. Oh, it's time for the Celtics Christmas tree. Turns out team decorating ain't too easy. Well, we've all got places we'd rather be, but Joe says we're building chemistry. The more we work, the clearer it seemed. We got it done when we were a team. All finished up, we admired the sight. A massive tree glowing all green and white. Merry Christmas, Joe said with a shout. At that moment, the lights flickered out. Well, he said it looks like we aren't done. I'm gonna need you to check everyone. Oh, it's time for the Celtics Christmas tree. Turns out team decorating ain't too easy. Well, we've all got places we'd rather be, but Joe says we're building chemistry.
Wow.
I always think it's funny, like that the AI's like faces always melt, like they melt into
I know.
different faces. Like the one looks like Joe, and then it looks like Tatum. But excellent work, Phil. I would not be surprised if Joe actually made them set up a Christmas tree to build chemistry. Like actually, like the narrative of this song makes a lot of sense.
Mhm. I do think this was the best AI video we've had so far.
I agree.
I think this was the best one. Shout out, Philip. Some notes from after the song. Production notes. RJ inspired the idea for the Christmas song in his email. The old song Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer was the inspiration to write a Christmas song in the form of a story. Technical hurdle of the project. I learned how to command the AI music to do instrumentals like the violin and banjo. In this one, AI is not once produced a correctly drawn basketball. And we'll randomly add basketballs if you mention Celtics, of course. These will be incorrect too. It takes me about 4 hours to make 1 minute of the video. Oh my God, that's insane. Favorite line, taller than a KP back ride and wider than their wing side by side. I like that one. Lastly, if you ever have a recommendation on how to get these songs to the Celtics, I would be all ears. I plan to sign up for some social platforms to help, but I still imagine it will come down to reaching out to the right person. God bless whoever that person is. All the best, Phil. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer. I think just putting it on social media is the best way to do it, and I'll update my thread at some point soon. But my Twitter only has so much pull in the Celtics universe.
We're just begging Noah. Please share
Yeah,
Philip's
we need
videos
Noah.
so they get
You
some
need Noah.
clout.
Thank you, Philip. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We appreciate you. Last email, my Celtics holiday wish list. Morning, folks. I'm a little old to believe in Santa, but I would still have my wish list. Here's what I hope to get the Celtics from this season, or get from the Celtics. Continued improvement from the end of the bench guys. Cato, Walsh, Peterson have all stepped up their games up a notch or two already this year. I know some of the improvements you have to squint to see, but the fact that Joe is giving them first half minutes is always a good sign. A confidence boost for Springer, Shireman, and Tillman. Maybe, excuse me, I have something in my throat. Maybe confidence boost isn't the right phrase, but something that unlocks their continuing growth. They each have NBA contracts. I'd like to believe it is for a reason beyond misguided executive optimism. More time together. No, this isn't about sitting around with friends and family. Here's hoping that the starting 6 plus 1 keep getting more and more court time in their various rotations. Just in case there's any doubt, the plus 1 is Pritchard. Yeah, a fully healed Sam Hauser. I'd rather see him sit for 2 weeks now so his back is a little bit better than watch him struggle through the season. Agree. Continuing good health for everyone and everything from Kristaps in general down to Al's left big toe and all the patellar tendinopathies in between. Take care of yourselves. Much better to come into the postseason healthy at the 2 or even 3 seed than limp in at 1. Be well, RJ. I agree. Thank you all for the emails. We appreciate it very much.
What I will say is, one, against the Magic, hopefully you have an opportunity to give those guys some extra minutes, get them some confidence. 2, the Celtics have not won a championship in forever. I don't know about the 80s seeding, but they've only won as the 1 seed. So maybe the 1 seed is actually the most important thing. But health is important. It's just funny because last year they literally had the 1 seed but not health, and they won.
Yeah, ironically, but we'll see. Hopefully they're healthy. I don't doubt that they'll be all right eventually, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Anyways, before we jump over to the NBA section, I want to take a second to tell you about Game Time. I love attending concerts, football games. I know Sam's not a football fan, but events in the winter months. And so Game Time is the best place to get all of your tickets for all of your ticketing needs. A quick look on Game Time right now, and there are plenty of events. I know there are Pats games. I know my family's going to one. Obviously, if you want to hit up any of the Celtics games, you get great deals there as well. Bruins, even the Bean Pot, all the way down to some fun shows, concerts, and comedy events. Let's take a look at this one, Sam. Let's take a look at Disney on Ice, Mickey's Search Party, because I think that's a bit of us.
Who wouldn't want to go to Disney on Ice? I think if somebody asked me to go to Disney on Ice, I would just block them.
But the best part about Game Time is everywhere you look, you get the best possible view from your seat. It'll show you your view up here. It'll show you all the different parts of the stadium where you can be looking down from. And one of my favorite parts is it tells you what the best deals are. You have stars to tell you some of the best deals. You found an amazing deal. These tickets are already in the top 5% of this event based on value. You have the hot ones where it tells you the cheapest tickets. And as you can see here, they're going like hotcakes. Only 2 tickets left at this price. So everywhere on the Game Time website and the app, which you should absolutely check out, gives you some of the best features. If you want to see Post Malone in concert, which is coming up in the new year as well, you can see the views from your venue, which is another one of my favorite parts. It's right up here at Gillette Stadium. It'll show you the view from your seat at what a concert looks like. And this one's a super deal. So if you want to see Post Malone, make sure to jump on this real quick. With Jelly Roll. Are you? Do you know who Jelly Roll is?
I know who Jelly Roll is only because I know somebody. That
Okay. Okay. Interesting. That's fun. But like I just mentioned, the super deal, you can see those there. You can see the views. And another thing that I love about Game Time is that it combines the fees with the ticket price, so you know exactly what you're paying right when you go in there and look at the pricing. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right. Back to business. Let's jump into the NBA section here. Check out the standings and see what's going on around the league since the last time we checked in. I'll pull them up here if you don't mind changing the background, Sam, to the nice blue and red. Thank you very much. Okay. Celtics still second seed in the Eastern Conference behind those pesky Cavaliers, and the gap is growing a little bit after the loss to the Bulls a few days ago. Cavs 25-4, 2.5 games above the 22-6 Celtics. The Knicks still in third. The Magic still in fourth, and they're 5-5 in their last 10. But the fact that they're missing Franz and Ballo and they're still 5-5 is kind of wild. So credit to them. They've been picking up the pace. Jalen Suggs didn't even play in the last game. We don't have this on the sheet, so we'll just talk about it here. Did you see the comeback they made against the Heat?
I did not. What was the context?
So I'm going to give you the context, right? So the Heat played the Magic. Magic didn't have Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, obviously, but Jalen Suggs was also out due to an ankle injury. So the Magic rolled out a starting lineup on Saturday of Anthony Black, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Tristan De Silva, the rookie, Wendell Carter, and Goga Bitadze. They went double bigs, and they played a rotation of Cole Anthony, Howard, Caleb Houston, John Isaac, and Trevelin Queen off the bench. And Mo Wagner tore his ACL, I think, in this game because he only played a minute 30. So there's the context.
That I'm aware of.
First quarter, Magic go down 40-28. Not a good start, right? Down 12 off the gate. Second quarter, 36-28. They're down 24, they're down 20 points at halftime. They're down 20 points at halftime, and then they lose the third quarter by 2. They then proceed to outscore the Heat 37-8 in the fourth quarter, and they won the game.
I feel like
it's just
I want to be like
unbelievable.
retribution for the things we've seen Miami do in the playoffs, but this is a game that no one will remember in 5 months. So,
Yeah.
I mean, good. The Heat can get bent, but what a collapse and what a comeback from Orlando.
Unbelievable. And Jimmy Butler didn't play, but I don't care who played if you blow that lead. Cole Anthony had 35, 8, and 9 off the bench. Or sorry, 35, 9, and 1. The 8 was the other rebound stat. So Cole Anthony, who's been in trade rumors, absolutely popped off. So just an incredible win for Magic. And Trevelin Queen was apparently really good too. The Bucks are comfortably over 500 now, 3 games above at 15 and 12 in 5th place. The Heat have snuck above the Hawks, I should say, for the 6th seed, despite losing to the Magic in ugly fashion. Hawks have lost 3 in a row. They're 14 and 15. Then you got the Pacers, Bulls, Pistons rounding out the play-in. The Nets have finally fallen below the play-in line, which they're probably thrilled about. Sixers, Hornets, Raptors, Wizards rounding out the Eastern Conference. Wizards won another game. They're at 4 now. And what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, yeah, it feels like everything looks right in the East now because if you look at or if you're on YouTube and you look at the point differential, only 6 teams have a positive point differential in the East, and they're the top 6 seeds. Everyone else is negative. It makes sense. It looks it looks like it makes sense.
So just some little nuggets from the standings. Milwaukee, Dame, incredulous, in disbelief that they're not playing on Christmas, says, I don't know how they couldn't schedule us on Christmas. Dame and Giannis and I are must-see television, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. I kind of think it's strange that they're not on national TV for Christmas too.
I was gonna say I kind of get it a little,
but at the same time, I think like Milwaukee's been a first round exit for the last 2 years. I think last year kind of the way they finished the season kind of diminished their credibility in terms of being one of the league's great teams. It doesn't mean they don't have the talent, but like under Doc, they hadn't been very good. They lost in the first round. Granted, they had injuries, but still lost in the first round. So I can kind of understand the league being like, oh, there's probably more juice in some of these matchups because this team went deeper in the playoffs. Like the Pacers aren't playing on Christmas and like they made the conference finals. I'm sure they're just as thrilled about it. And I think the Pacers are a fun team to watch too. There's only so many spots on Christmas and, you know, that's just kind of how the cookies crumble. But Pistons need to get it together. 4 and 6 in their last 10 just isn't good enough. It's doable.
Yeah, I feel like at this rate, they're going to be battling with the Bulls and the Sixers to get that final play-in spot. So we'll see which one of them stays in. But I think they have just as good a chance as the other teams, although Philly might be coming. It might be Chicago and Detroit battling it out. We'll see how the deadline.
Like Philly, we have seen like some bad games from Paul George.
He's been really bad this year.
Putrid.
Really, really bad this year. Yeah.
I wonder
Not
why.
good for them.
It felt like Paul George would be a great fit there. Like it's not even like I could get it if everybody was healthy and it was like he doesn't know how to really coexist with Embiid because he needs the ball so much. But like maybe he's not a first option level guy anymore. I mean, 11 points against Cleveland the other day. He had 5 points against the Hornets. He had 33 before that, then 15 and 12. He's been wildly inconsistent.
I know you don't like LeBron, but I feel like LeBron's longevity and ability to put up like relatively similar numbers every year has put like a blinder over most people's general view of how stars goes because stars usually aren't this good when they are this old. Paul George is 34. Like stars usually fall off eventually, and maybe this is just his year where the decline starts. Like LeBron and Steph Curry have been able to put up good, efficient numbers for the last decade and a half. Like that's not usually how it goes. And so I wonder if this is his year. Another very small tier example is like Kyle Lowry was an all-star, 3-4 years ago? Now he's like barely in the league. Like I'm not saying Paul George and Kyle Lowry were ever the same caliber of player, but all-stars fall off quickly when they get older. And this could be the time for Paul George to start declining. I still think he's a fine player, but I don't know. Maybe he's not as good anymore, or he's not going to be as good anymore.
So let's see. Paul George turned 34 late last season, second. So I suppose the Clippers were gone from the playoffs by then. But in the playoffs for the Clippers last year, he was halfway decent. He was playing games without Kawhi, like helping them compete, helping them win. Let's see. He had 19 points a game, so I guess he wasn't that great. 41% from the field. Maybe I'm just misspeaking. He did have a good game.
I was gonna say that's not that great.
Yeah, not good. He did something in that series that made me think that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, I don't think Paul George is a bad player, right? But there comes a point in time where guys are just not as good. They're not the players they once were. Like, I know you've never liked him, but look at Bradley Beal. Like, as much as you didn't like the way he was in Washington, he was like a good player. Like, he was efficient for a lot of the time. And whether it's, situation or something else, like he goes from Washington shooting 51% and 36 to like, he's still been efficient last year and this year, but it's just, you don't see the same type of player overall. I don't know. It's weird. I think players fall off quicker than a lot of people realize.
What I was thinking of was Paul George's 33-8 game in Game 4, which was a win. So that is why I thought he had decent games. He just also had a 7-point game in this series. So the inconsistency was starting to knock on the door a little bit more, I suppose. But you think in Philly, maybe it has something to do with him being asked to take on more of a responsibility with guys out. And he's just not really built for that anymore. But when he joined the team in the summer, we're all like, wow, like he's going to be an upgrade over Tobias. Like he's not going to have to do all as much. And that still could be true when everyone comes back, but it's yet to be seen.
I missed the mute button. Sorry. Yes, I agree. I was like, is it unmuted? Is it unmuted? Yeah, we'll have to see. It could just be he is not as good, but maybe he's just having a slump. Western Conference, Thunder still own the West, 22-5 atop the Western Conference. Memphis has reached the 20-win mark as well. They're 29, 3 games back. Rockets at 19-9. Then you got the Mavs and Nuggets, who have been 6-4 in the last 10. They've been a little bit better in the 5 seed. Then you got the Lakers in 6, Warriors, Clippers, Spurs, Timberwolves in the play-in so far. And then Kings have fallen out of that race. And then the Suns have fallen out of the race, and the Kings are slowly starting to dip behind even the Suns. They are 2.5 games out of the 11th seed. So a rough go of it for them. And then bet your ass, Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans down there in 13.
They'll be there no matter what.
Oh, yeah, always.
Jazz 2 wins in a row. One of them was against the Pistons, so not good. Very disappointing. Listen, the West, it's gonna be like this. Not the most fun for us to watch and just be like, oh yeah, like there's no new updates. It's just like, yeah, it's still close, except the top is starting to become a little bit further separated, and the bottom is starting to become a little bit more separated. But the middle teams, it's a game and a half between 5 and 11.
It's gonna be a crazy Western Conference towards the end of the year. I'm very excited.
It's funny because a lot of those teams can't get out of their own way. Like the best record from like 5 to 11 is 6-4. Like if these teams could put together a consistent stretch, they would be able to separate so much easier.
But they're all playing each other, so it's really, really hard to put together that stretch, which is why the West is impossible. But moving on to the next thing, Alex Caruso has signed an extension with the OKC Thunder. 4 years, 81 mil per Shams, because of course it is. It is funny. I've seen it all over Twitter that he was playing for the Thunder G League team, didn't stick around, then made it all the way back around and signed an extension, playing for the same coach who coached him on that G League team. Very cool. Good for Alex Caruso. Great for the Thunder. They're damn good. They're really good.
Listen, we all knew the Thunder were going to be a deep team for years. They have 1 billion draft picks. They still have 1 billion draft picks. What they have done is lock up a key player for their team for 4 seasons on a good contract. Like, Caruso is not quite Derek White, but his skill set is close enough to where you can kind of see the comparison. Is he the shot blocker that Derek is? No. Is he the creator Derek is? No. But he can still knock down threes. He's an excellent all-NBA level defender. And the fact that they're only going to have to pay a guy that can play both ends of the floor at a pretty solid level, $20 million a season, pretty easy to build a team when you have a player that is that substantial, making that low of a salary for years. Like this hasn't even kicked in yet.
Yeah.
That's
Caruso's awesome. And I mean, if you put it in that context, sorry, I was freezing up a little bit there. Derek White makes a little more than 30 mil, like 30 to 35-ish, I think. I don't know the exact number, and I don't want to change tabs because I think that's 33. What made me lag. And Caruso makes about 20 mil, exactly. I'd say he's probably even a little bit better than 2/3 of the player Derek White is. So the fact that they're paying him 2/3 the money that Derek White's getting, like that's good value for the Thunder. So good for them. Good for Alex Caruso. Good to see him get a payday. And yeah, they're they're a damn good basketball team too.
And if you're the
That's
Thunder,
probably who the Celtics are going to see in the finals if they can get there. Yeah.
if you're the Thunder, you had such an easy sell to Caruso. It's like, we'll pay you a good amount of money. You can stay here. You're going to be maximized because you're on an elite team with elite players. Why would you not want to do that? Because it's OKC? Maybe if you're like so tied to the idea of living in a major city. Yeah, but aside from that, like Caruso's from Texas. He's not that far from there, not far from home. Why would he not want to stay there? And this is just another great example of teams building a roster the way that they need to in order to compete under the new CBA. Like, you're not building a roster by slapping 3 stars together anymore. OKC has drafted their team. They've made good signings with the cap space that they had, and they're able to now fund that team while guys are still making reasonable salaries because these are their players. They didn't have to steal them from somebody else and entice them to come there or give up draft capital or rotation pieces to get them on the team.
Yeah, the Thunder have done this very, very well. And when I lagged, I was looking to do another tab because I was going to do a bit of they're this good now, then just wait till they trade Lou Dort another piece for insert superstar here. And I was going to find an actual name, but it's going to happen. They're going to trade for a superstar eventually, and there's going to be a Celtics West, and they're damn close to Celtics West right now. And I know the Celtics technically are the top team in the East, but like, let's be fucking for real. Next thing, the latest Jimmy Butler rumors. From Bobby Marks of ESPN, I believe. He says, as for Butler's future, there's growing consensus among teams I talked to that unless the 6-time All-Star becomes a distraction or the Heat receive a trade offer they cannot turn down, Butler will be on the Heat's roster once the deadline passes. And to that I say boo, because that fucking is boring. I want to see him get traded.
The NBA is a transaction league. It's what we all get excited for. Guy in a new uniform.
It's very true.
I just think this makes the most sense. I don't think the Heat are going to get an offer that they can't refuse. Like, I don't think any smart team is going to give up the farm for Jimmy. Jimmy is on expiring. He's still getting older. We just had the discussion about Paul George. Like, how great is Jimmy going to be able to be as he turns 36, so on. He's not a bad player. He's still done incredible things, exceeding expectations on several playoff occasions, but like, I don't know. If I'm Houston, I'm not gutting my team to bring him in, even though they have a good set of players to do so. Other teams that aren't Houston really don't have the means to do it. So why would you? I think there are just better things to come if you wait with your developmental players, see what you have. The value of them may go up, or they may just be good enough to keep around and to build a team around. Jimmy shouldn't go anywhere. I don't think it makes sense. And who knows what he's going to do in the summer. We've heard that he wants to test what he can get. I don't know what teams are going to want to pay him. I'm sure somebody will be desperate. But at this point, a trade seems unlikely to me.
I agree. If I'm the Heat, I trade him and see if you re-sign him this summer. I don't know if that makes financial sense. I said if I'm the Heat, I'd trade him, and then worst case, maybe you try to re-sign him this summer. Because like if there's a chance he's not going to re-sign with you, you don't want to lose him for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's risky.
It's true, but the other team has to want him, and to want to give up things that you deem worth / the league allows because the money works.
Yes,
it's not always that easy.
If you're the Heat and you think there's even like a 20% chance he doesn't come back, I don't think the ceiling of the next 4 years of Jimmy Butler is worth getting nothing in return for him.
I just think that listen, I think
you know what I'm saying.
Players
though?
should
Like,
be in cahoots.
You get it?
Like you're suggesting more and more often. Like I'm surprised.
No. I'm not even saying like only do it if you can try to re-sign him. Like I don't. I'll ask you this: do you think the Heat are going to win a title in Jimmy Butler's next contract?
No.
So if you have even like a 20% inkling that he's not going to re-sign, you trade him, at least in my opinion, because the ceiling of what the team with him on the roster could be is not worth getting nothing in return for him. That's my opinion. And I get that there's more context to like he's meant a lot to the organization. He's the history there, all this stuff. But like losing Jimmy Butler for nothing when you could probably get at least a good young player at a first-round pick for him is bad business.
I'm looking up the different team cap rankings heading into the summer. I'm not entirely convinced there's a bunch of teams that can actually like afford Jimmy. Like I don't think.
I think people could make room. I definitely know what you're saying. Like I don't think there's a ton of teams that are going to be like dying to get Jimmy Butler. That said, if there's one team that I think could have cap space, I'm going to double check my projected cap space here, but the Spurs are going to have 27 mil, and so if they can clear up a little bit more, and he wants to go play with Wemby in Texas, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's a team. Because I mean, let me look up the Spurs payroll, and if I lag, let me know because I'm in a different tab, and my laptop is my laptop. Excuse
The
me.
Nets
But,
are going to have cap space. I know people have
and
painted them as a destination. Washington, he won't want to go there. The Pelicans, he probably won't go. Charlotte, no.
if you're the Spurs and you can dump Harrison Barnes' contract, you or Zach Collins' contract, you immediately clear up 40 plus mil. Immediately.
What's in it for Miami? Just getting literally anything.
No.
back?
I'm saying this. I'm making the argument for this summer.
Okay.
Like the Spurs could try to sign him. Like I am painting the picture of I do think there could be teams that could challenge Miami for Jimmy Butler this summer. I'm not saying the Spurs should go get him right now. I'm saying like I'm trying to make the argument that you shouldn't risk losing him for nothing if you're Miami because the Spurs could clear up cap space. I mean, the Rockets are projected to have 19 mil. I bet they could get up to 40 pretty quickly. So I'm just saying, like, with how free flowing trades get in the summer, I don't think it's as much of a matter of no one's going to have cap space as it usually is. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't think he'll get traded. I'm just saying I don't think they should not trade him if they don't think he's definitely going to resign.
I'm just not sure there are a bunch of teams that feel like they're one Jimmy Butler away from a championship. Like the way this started is, can Miami win if he stays? And it's like, well, I don't think so. But what other team is going to add him and all of a sudden be a contender?
I think the Rockets would be a contender with Jimmy Butler.
I mean, if they can get there, great, good for them.
I think the Spurs would be a damn good playoff team with Jimmy Butler, and at some point, getting that with Victor Wembanyama is pretty good. Stephon Castle looks really, really good. Like, I don't think I think there are enough teams around the league who don't feel like no matter what the Spurs do this summer, I don't think they're going to be a title contender next year. I would assume you agree. So if you can get 2-3 years Jimmy Butler,
don't only want to compete for a championship. Like there is value to doing other things. Like that's not what I'm. I know. I'm just taking a look at San Antonio's roster going forward. So I mean, they don't have a ton of guys they'd be eclipsing if they brought in Jimmy. Like Devin Vassell would probably have to sacrifice a little bit, and do they like?
You can play the two though. You could probably roll out Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Jimmy Butler, insert power forward here in Victor Wembanyama and be fine. If you heard me, if I didn't lag.
I heard you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point with the Spurs are you just going to become the team that has Wemby and then they bring in aging stars? Because you've already done with Chris Paul. Is Jimmy next?
I get it.
Great line of old guys.
I'll put it this way. Tatum didn't win a title till 26, right?
Yeah.
If Jimmy Butler is just their Kyrie / Kemba, that's fine.
No, I don't disagree. Like,
yeah,
sure. I just don't know. Going back to the original point, I'm not really sure there's anything in it for Miami to move him. Do I think that other teams in the summer may go after him? Yes. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to pay him whatever he's holding out for in Miami. Like Miami, tried to get an extension done, and he's like, well, you guys aren't paying me enough.
I think that's part of it for Jimmy, but it wouldn't shock me if Jimmy is the type of guy that would just be like, I want to see if there's any other interesting places or teams that I could be a part of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if in Jimmy's mind, it's not 100% money. And if it's, I want the money if I'm going to stay in Miami, but I want the options to maybe play it in my home state of Texas, maybe go play with another superstar. Like I want the freedom to have options. So I wonder if another team would have to get, because another team won't be able to pay him as much as Miami can, regardless, right? Because that's how math works. I do wonder how much of it is part of that. But anyways, I agree with you. I don't think they will trade Jimmy. I'm just saying if they have any sense of he might not resign, you got to consider it more than just only if we get the max offer. And maybe that changes by the deadline. But we'll see. Next thing, Sam's team, the Pistons, trade rumblings or trade deadline.
They're the big
information.
Deadline
Bobby Marks. I'll let you read this. This is your team. Read Bobby Marks' breakdown.
Yeah, Bobby Marks writes, he had conversations with different executives from both conferences to give him one team that controls the deadline. Pistons were the overwhelming answer. He writes, the Pistons are the team to watch, not because it's in the market for Ingram, Butler, or Zach LaVine, but because they have $14 million in cap space, with nearly a third of the league not allowed to take back additional salary in a trade because of an apron restriction. Detroit is in an ideal position to act as a third team, taking back contracts, but with the caveat that draft picks are attached. Executive pointed to the Denver Nuggets and the future of forward Michael Porter Jr. when considering teams that are looking to find players at the deadline. The Nuggets are in a precarious position, maximizing Jokic's championship contending window and improving their roster, but with limited resources available to trade. Denver can swap first-round picks only in 2031, and the lone sizable contract is Porter's $36 million deal. So Pistons are going to be holding all the power. Like, you want to make a trade? You got to impress us. We're going to decide whether or not you get to make this trade. And it's funny that they actually have this power because the league has handcuffed everybody that pays their players a lot of money. The Pistons are not that team.
Yeah, the Pistons should be able to take on, like, maybe get a couple seconds, maybe get an interesting young player. That'll be a team other teams will have to work with if they want to get a deal done, which I don't know how much, like, they will be able to improve themselves from that, but at the very least, getting a little bit of extra draft capital here and there would be nice for a team like Detroit, who is trying to build something up over there.
Mm-hmm. They still have some work to do, but they're starting to have a little bit of a foundation that they can feel good about. And the shooting that they've had certainly helps. So they have the blueprint now. And Cade's been excellent.
Cade's good. Maybe an all-star, though it's kind of tough, but we'll see. All right, Sam. Ratless. What do you got?
Rat List is my new hat. So I ordered around Thanksgiving. I think I even talked about this on the show. I ordered a few different pieces of merch from the Childish Gambino tour that I went to in the summer. At the time, I didn't want to pay the money. So when I initially ordered them, it was like Thanksgiving. Then they do a Black Friday sale the day after I order everything. So I spent more money than I needed to spend. And I ordered this hat, and the hat comes, and it looks like this. It's a red hat, and it has Gambino on the front with Childish in black ink written in the middle. So it looks like there's a little space.
On white lettering, though.
On white lettering. So if I wore this hat on my head, you may think it is a different type of hat. I joined the room wearing the hat today. I said, Jack, do you think I'm good to wear this on the show? Jack says, I thought that was a different hat. And I was like, fuck. It's almost like a joke on me because I could be mistaken for somebody wearing that hat.
Yeah.
So I bought this hat. Now I can't really wear the hat.
Yeah. I'll never see Santa hats the same either. There's one in front of me and I'm looking at it. I'm just kidding. It's just red and white. I was like,
wait, what?
No.
It'd be a little bit funny if there was a Santa edition of that hat.
There definitely is. I bet all the money in the world. Yeah. But yeah, the hat definitely caught me a little bit off guard when I jumped in it. I knew it, like, I could tell it wasn't, but I had to think about it for an extra second. I had to double take. This isn't like a real rat list because it like comes from a good place, but it's funny rat list. So we called it Berm Miss, BERM, because the people who lived in my apartment last year were Brian, Ryan, Mike, and Ethan. So they spelled out their names with Berm. Now I replaced Ethan and I don't have a vowel. So it's like, it doesn't really work, but they still call it Berm because it is what it is. But we did our Christmas. So we all handed out gifts and stuff. And I left them at my apartment, I think. So I don't have them, but I will tell everybody what I got anyways. Danny got me a little indoor putting mat that's Celtics themed, so I can like practice my putting indoors. Very cool. Ryan got me a Brentford t-shirt. Go Bees.
Very cool.
He accidentally got me two because he ordered two of all of our gifts because he had them in two different carts because he didn't hit cancel, but he accidentally ordered two different Brentford t-shirts. So now I get two different Brentford t-shirts, which is fun. And then Mike got me a little desk on air sign to have when I'm recording. So I'll just put it on my desk and it's like, says on air.
I like that.
And then Brian also got me an on air sign.
Well, now you can have one on both sides of your desk just in case somebody can't see one of them.
I'm going to put one outside. I'm going to put one outside my door and then the other one on my desk. Okay. It's fun. But
Suggestion.
it was very good. Yes.
So instead of being Berm, BERM, you could have it RMJB Christmas.
What is?
Type it out. Just think about it. Somebody in the comments is laughing right now. I promise you. Anything else, Jack? I'm gonna let you think about that one.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
I was gonna say. Oh, I had something else. Oh, my gifts. I got Mike some Christmas, or not Christmas, some Celtic slippers. But the real rat list about it is it was supposed to come in the 21st, the night of the 21st, the night of the 21st, because we're doing the Christmas morning of the 22nd. Amazon updates because of the snowstorm, and it's not going to get there till the 24th. No one's going to be there on the 24th. So it's just going to get stolen.
Will it get stolen?
Probably,
does that happen near you?
Yes. It's going to get stolen. I'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky, but yeah, I don't have too much confidence, but that's the end of my Christmas story at the very least.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the event on Saturday. The people got to see you at your state. But I'm glad it was a good time. So this weekend for me was a fun weekend. I went to New Hampshire. It was one of my friend's birthdays this month, so we went to the sports book for the college football playoff. He's a big college football fan, so it was a good way to celebrate. I guess I'll start there. So the way it was is we went to a casino, but we didn't stay at the casino. We stayed probably like a mile down the road, which was fine, no problem. To get to our hotel, it's a main road. There is a barricade in the middle, so it's not easy to cross the street, right? So the hotel is on the opposite side of the casino. So when you're coming down, you have to wait till you get to a light to take a U-turn. I'm trying to take the U-turn. People were trying to hit me. I swear to God, people were trying to I'm signaling. I'm trying to merge in. These people do not want you to merge in. Like New Hampshire has some of the meanest drivers ever. What are you going to do to win? Like, what is the best case scenario? I just don't go in front of you? Is that it? I mean, I guess. Like, if you hit me, that's not good. What if I die?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
Think about Jack. He'd get to have a new co-host. He'd be happy.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound fun at all. I parked on Com Ave and I had to come home yesterday, but I didn't really think about it, and I should have. It was like my own stupidity. How much snow would have accumulated on my car? And for whatever reason, I don't have one of the things like in my car. I don't have like a brusher or a scraper or whatever. But I found an old shoe, and so I took a shoe and was like wiping it off. But then the snow would just get all over my hands, and so my hand was like cooked. My hand was so cold. But speaking of the snow, also, I think there was. I think they might have found a dead body in the park across from my house.
Really?
I don't know for sure, and so I don't want to spread fake news. This is like a very much like we're theorizing. But we woke up the morning of the 21st, and there were a bunch of cop cars outside of our house, like across the street by the park. And there was a stretcher, but it wasn't like an ambulance stretcher. It was like a black stretcher that was very clearly probably what you would put a body on. And so the cops were all throughout the park. And then we come back. We went out to grab something. We come back and we see a family. And we get back to our apartment and we look out and the woman is crying. And so we think that they found something of the sort in the park across
I was
street.
going to
However,
suggest that there's probably not foul play, or there could not be foul play because it should just be somebody that lives in the park that might have got too cold. But makes me feel like there actually may be foul play.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be an overdose. It could be just something else that is also very sad. But the weird part about it is, I don't know if you saw this, Sam, on Twitter. If you can take Matt off the screen real quick for me.
Wait. I love Twitter. I have to get used to the alternate mouse pad. Okay, it's awesome.
Did you see my great football catch on Twitter?
I did see this. I think I retweeted it.
So this was the night of the 20th.
Nice zig route.
Yeah. and I come back and catch it. This is the night of the 20th. This is the park. So this
Is it the guy that you burned? They found his body?
no, that's my roommate. This is the night of the 20th, and then the very next morning, and this was like 11:30 p.m. And so the very next morning, they found all that shit. Also, my roommates and I took our matching Christmas pictures. If you want to, happy holidays! I posted
forgot
them on the YouTube
about the
community.
matching t-shirts.
The matching PJs, very fun.
My girlfriend tries to get me to do that. I tell her no.
Why? What? That's fucking lame.
Let's see. So to continue the weekend story, big part of the weekend was college football. So the most exciting game that we had was Ohio State versus Tennessee, at least going into the game. We had Ohio State spread. We had Jeremiah Smith touchdown anytime. We had 2 touchdowns, Jeremiah Smith. All 3 hit. Excellent night. The annoying thing about this game is going into the game, a lot was being made about these games being home games, actually on campus games for these schools. If you don't know, the college football playoff was expanded to 12 teams this year. It's the first time they've ever held games on campus, but with some caveats. Like, I don't think all of the ticketing and everything is done to standard. It's more inclusive of away fans. So there was a lot being said about the Tennessee Orangemen coming in, flooding the shoe
Go Vols.
and taking over. So what happened was and there was a good presence of orange. These people from Tennessee went up to Ohio, sat in the cold, paid for these tickets, and then watched their team lose by 25 points, really 32, because they scored in the last minute of the game. Prayers for them.
Okay, I'm back interrupting Sam's story. I'm grabbing Duke because the maintenance man is here. So rat list everything going on at the moment as my other dog tries to get downstairs, but I'll let Sam wrap up the rat list, then we'll wrap up the show. But rat list this, and if watch this, I'm gonna let go of Duke and he's gonna start sprinting towards her. Look at this. Here, good boy. The other one's over there. They're here.
What's
No,
the
no,
other
no.
dog's
Okay,
name?
Georgie. Duke, don't do it.
Mm.
Okay, I'll let you continue the rat list, and if you see me jump up from my chair, she did some fuck shit. But continue.
So maybe not rat list, but eyeball emojis towards Rhode Island. I don't know if you've seen the rumors, Jack, but the Bravo network apparently is in the midst of producing a show that will be a Real Housewives version of Rhode Island. So maybe I should start trolling around certain parts of the state, maybe trying to make cameos in the background of some of the scenes here. Like if they go out to like a restaurant or something, maybe you see me poke my head in. If I actually get wind of this, maybe we should do a counter of like how many times I can get on it. That'd be a little fun.
Do you know where they're supposed to be filming?
I've heard Cranston, which is like the next town over for
Why
me.
Cranston?
I don't know. I saw something that some influencers apparently are here and they already have like a built-in audience if they do it that way or something like that. But I don't know of any influencers from here except for me. Like I'm number one, me and Corrales, Rhode Island influencers in the Celtics space. That's it.
I bet I can Google it. Let me look. 1 sec.
I can't wait to tell you, never heard of him. There's some guy at my job that looks like Jersey Jerry, so we call him Rhodey Rob, so maybe he counts. But
top influencers from Cranston around. Also, if you hear a fan, I apologize. I don't see Duke is sniffing Georgie, and I'm very worried. Duke, be nice. Georgie sitting so still. She's not afraid of him, but stop. Good boy.
I like
Good
this.
boy, Dookie.
We should have one pot a week where Jack is dog training, or he's dog watching.
I don't see many influencers from Cranston, Rhode Island. I do know, you know that Jake guy who sings the song Golden Hour? It's like JVKE. He's from stop.
Oh yes, I am aware.
He's from Rhode Island. I know, but yeah, I can't imagine if I had to do with Real Housewives filming in my town.
And then the last rat list is my car. So Jack's aware of this already. Yesterday, I messaged Jack probably around noon. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be home from New Hampshire this afternoon. We can roll. We can do the show then. We'll be pretty flexible today. I had plans to go support my men's league team that I can't currently play with because my back is still bothering me. Me and Sam Hauser sticking together. And me and the fellas go to the casino to pick up our winning tickets from the Ohio State just absolute cash cow we had on Saturday night. Cash the tickets, get some lunch, go out to the car. Car doesn't turn on. It's cold out. The car doesn't turn on. I've had my car not turn on before, and the way it usually works is if I usually never have any problem turning my car on first thing in the morning. Didn't have any problem leaving the hotel. Get to the casino, fine. Usually, if my car is going to do what it did yesterday, it will be I went to get gas and then I'm at the gas station and I turned it off for 5 minutes and then I try and turn it back on right away. But if there's enough time that'll pass, the car will turn back on. It usually resets. This didn't happen yesterday. We waited an hour and a half for AAA. But first of all, so AAA did help. First of all, they do get a pass, but they're still on the rat list because they lie about they underestimate how long it's going to take people to get to you. There's nothing wrong with being like, it's going to take 2 hours and it only takes an hour and a half. At least we know. But if you're like half hour, we sat in the car for a half hour with me trying to repeatedly turn it on, which hurt my fucking finger. Jamming the key in.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Duke, what are you doing? Buddy.
But then, initial guy gets there. I had said, I think there's something wrong with my battery. He tests the battery. Battery's fine. He says, I think it's your starter. I think you're going to need a tow. So we have to wait for a second AAA guy to come and tow us all the way back to Rhode Island from New Hampshire. Over 100 miles. So I actually had to pay for the tow service. AAA shows AAA. AAA covers the first 100 miles. That would have been out a lot more money. But the tough part about all of this is
how many miles was it total? Did you say
112?
Yikes.
So the tough part about this is there are worse places to be trapped. I will say that. Like, I can think of some. The casino is not a great place to be trapped because there is nothing else for you to do but gamble. My friend's brother lost $400, dude. Just fucking, he was fine. And then my car didn't start. He lost $400 because the car didn't start. Tough display. I would be I would be mad at me. I felt horrible. Shout out to the tow truck driver. Guy was a dog. We're on 95, dude. Just fucking scrolling the NFL slate, looking to see what the scores the games are. Just he's got this gigantic tow truck. Just
that's insane.
We got home okay. Happy to be home. And you bet your ass I went downstairs this morning. My car started right up. Still cold out. Doesn't matter. Started right up.
I bet.
The nerve.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I think my wrestling match is over. As you were talking, Duke like nested himself behind the camera, just in the chair, like just.
You need to like keep the cone
it out.
Or maybe you just show him the picture if he starts acting up.
No, Duke's a good boy. He's a good boy. He doesn't do anything wrong. She starts it. It's her fault. I blame her.
Sure it is.
Anyways, we can wrap there. My wrestling match will surely continue off the air, but appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics here, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. I apologize for the chaos that ensued as I was trying to wrestle dogs. Hopefully I can cut out the pause, but I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what you think my RMJB naming of Jack's Christmas would be. You can also hit the bell. Jack and I are here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday like this one. Game recaps like the one in this pod drop the morning after each game. And then other videos are up on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Wishing everyone a Merry Christmas Eve. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. All pods and recaps will be up there for you. So if you just want the audio versions, you can find them there. Give us a follow. They'll go right to your feed. We'd appreciate it if you left us a 5-star review. Helps us quite a bit in the algorithm. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. If you have suggestions on what Jack can rename his Christmas party to, go ahead and send them that way. Send them your thoughts on Celtics-Magic. hbtcpod@gmail.com. The socials are How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack Simone NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco.